Yo, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Hope you guys enjoyed the video today. We're going to go through our round 19 tips and predictions. Last week we were pretty lucky. We got 6 out of 8 tips right. So unfortunately my New Zealand Warriors, unfortunately the boys let me down, and the Melbourne Storm let me down last week. I thought Melbourne were going to be a little bit tougher in Melbourne, but the Penrith Panthers just proving how good they are and how they're the best team in the competition pretty much at the moment. Before we get into the video, I quickly want to just make note that all my stats are coming up, you know, for each team and all that sort of stuff are within the last 5 games. They're in-form stats and not overall stats. So if they're a couple of variables here, whether, you know, teams are playing, you know, lesser competition comparatively to higher competition. So some stats may vary on that sort of side, but it also gives you a really good idea of what team is in form at the moment, which team is really out of form at the moment coming into these games. So hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please make sure you like, subscribe, and without further ado, on a short weekend of tips, let's get straight into the video. The first game of the weekend, we got the Tigers versus the Sharks at CommBank Stadium. So with the Tigers, they are 13th in the league right now for attack in the last 5 games, so 20.6 points per game, and 14th in defense with 33.6 points per game conceded. That's including the domination they got last week off a 74-0 loss to the Cowboys. So that's pretty crazy that they're still sitting 14th. Only a couple of teams that are worse than them, but still, like, to hold a 14th and, like, you know, get smacked by 74 points is pretty mental to me. No massive changes coming into this one. Well, none that I really wanted to note or anything. So yeah, it's pretty dire straits at the moment for the Tigers. And for the Sharkies, they're the 3rd best attacking team in the competition right now in the last 5 games with 29.6 points per game. They're 8th in defense in 21.2 points per game. Last week, getting a really nice win over the Dragons, 52-16. They are 2-2 in their last 4 games as well, but no massive changes with them either due to Origin and all that sort of stuff. No one really standing out there other than Dale Finucane obviously getting the suspension. I think Cam McInnes comes into that 13 role. So my tip for this game is a pretty easy tip either way. You know, I'm going to go with the Sharkies. I think the Sharkies, just attacking wise, are just a bit too much of a threat. It's just whether up to the Tigers, whether they want to concede another big 50 to 60 to 70 point game, or they want to really try to hold it down to about a 30 maybe or something like that. I really do think the Sharkies will get it done pretty convincingly. I don't know if there's any strike really at the moment in this Tigers team that's going to allow us to get this done. Their halves aren't really there at the moment, so yeah, just unfortunate for the Tigers. Next game, we've got the Dragons versus the Raiders at Wynn Stadium, so a Dragons home game here. So with the Dragons, they are 14th in the league right now for attack and 20 points per game, 16th in defense with 36.4 points per game, which is really disappointing from the Dragons, the 2nd worst team in defense right now. 52-16 lost to the Sharkies last week, so as we just spoke before, but they are 1-4 in their last 5 games. You know, they're in a real down form at the moment, and as I said, like 16th in defense is really not a great stat to go by. Coming into this game, Paul Turner comes into fullback for Tyrell Sloan, so obviously they are resting Sloan or something's going on there, obviously, and Junior Armone Bud Sullivan is in the halves due to Benny Hunt Origin duties. And with the Raiders, they are 10th in the league right now in attack with 22.6 points per game and 12th in defense in the last 5 games with 24.2 points per conceded. 26-22 win over the Titans too for the Raiders. Great game from them overall in that one. Obviously, you know, a couple of controversial calls here and there, but overall, I thought the Raiders were a good, you know, they were probably the better team in that game overall. But, you know, 4 from 1 in their last 5 games, so they're really in form at the moment. So it's pretty hard to go past the Raiders in this one. The Raiders have Gula starting, obviously, with Corey Horsburgh going to Origin, but everyone else is pretty much stock standard there for the Raiders. So, you know, yeah, I'm going to tip the Raiders in this one. I think the Raiders will be too strong, but I do also think that the Dragons will come out and make it a contest. I do like the halves partner of, you know, Armone and Bud Sullivan for the future. But yeah, just at the moment, you know, the Raiders, man, I think the Raiders are going to get it done there pretty convincingly. Next game, we got the Eels versus the Warriors at CommBank Stadium. So Eels home game. Starting off with the Eels, they are 2nd in attack right now in the last 5 games with 35.2 points per game. They're 1st in defense right now with 13.6 points per game. So really great stats there. Obviously, the Panthers are the best defense in the league by far overall, but in form right now, the Eels are actually the best defense in the league right now with the last 5 games. So really good work there from the Parramatta Eels. 48-20 win over the Dolphins last week, or the week before, sorry, and they are 5-0 in form right now. So they are really they're heating up towards the end of the season here. No Moses, no Gutho, no RCG in this game. So Matto comes into the halves, Isaac Lumilime comes to the wing, and Sean Russell goes to fullback to fill in for Gutho. And moving on with the Warriors, we are 5th in the competition right now in the last 5 games in attack, so 28.5 4 points per game. We're 7th in defense right now, 18.8 points per game. So a little bit of a drop off from last week. I'm pretty sure we're up there with like, you know, the first, second, thirds in attack and defense or whatever. And now we're starting to really drop off. But unfortunately, you know, with the loss last weekend, 28-6 against the Rabbitohs, the weather did not help us at all, but the Rabbits still had to play in that weather and the Rabbits absolutely killed it. If you want to give my, you know, my proper thoughts on that game, go check out my Wild Talk video. I do a Warriors Talk video pretty much every week wherever I can. So yeah, go check that out. That gives you my thoughts of what happened in this game. But just overall, you know, if you want a quick summary of it, the Rabbitohs just way too good in that wet I just couldn't believe it. Only 90% completion rate. They were fucking unbelievable. 3 from 2 in the last 5 games, so a pretty average at the moment, but hopefully we can get back on the winning streak or whatever coming into this game against Parramatta Eels with a whole lot of Origin out. So you already know my tip for this game. We're going the Warriors. Just got to support the boys. A whole lot of milestones coming up here, and one of them, you know, Sean Johnson has been named to come over, but he's due for another bub. Apparently he may not even come over, and judging by the latest Instagram post with all the milestones and all that milestone men, Shawnee was not on that post, so I'm guessing he's probably going to be staying home for this one. So Ronald Volkman will probably end up coming in. I'm really excited for that, but I'm going to go tip with the Warriors either way. Next up, we got the Rabbits versus the Dogs at Accor Stadium. Starting off with the Rabbits, they're 7th right now in attack with 27.2 points per game. They're 13th in defense right now with 26.8 points per game. Nice win over my Warriors last week, as we spoke before. 28-6 win over the Warriors in New Zealand. Amazing win there. Dean Hawkins comes in for Walker. Mamazillis comes in for Cookie. Tallis Duncan on the bench. Ben Lovett is on the edge for Koloamatangi. So a couple of switches around there, but, you know, the Rabbits, they just keep doing Rabbit things. And with the Doggies right now, turn away Doggies fans, these stats aren't good, but within the last 5 games, you're the worst team in attack and defense with 13.2 points per game right now for attack, and defense, you're conceding 38.2 points per game with a really bad loss last week, 66-0. So right now, just not in form. 1 from 4 in the last 5 games, and the last win was over those Titans at Accor Stadium. So Toby Sexton comes straight into this team now. Obviously, they just a new signing there. So I'm really excited to see how this goes. Obviously, I want to watch because I want to see how Toby Sexton gets around the park and all that sort of stuff. This one's a really tough one for me. It's 50-50, like tip-wise. I think, you know, obviously with the Rabbits, with all the Origin out, so we're talking Cookie, we're talking Murray, we're talking Walker. Bro, like, I can't... With the Doggies, like 66-0, but I think the Doggies need to bounce back. So I'm going to go to Dogs here. I really do think the Dogs, that they can get it over the top of, especially a team that has, you know, Dean Hawkins in. So they've got a really young halves pairing with Ilias and Walker. Hawkins. Mamazillis comes in for Cookie. I feel like I'm going to go to Doggies. Yeah, I'm going to go to Doggies for you guys. And last game of the weekend, we got the Titans versus the Dolphins at Seabus Stadium. So with the Titans, they're 9th in form right now in attacks with 22.8 points per game. They're 10th in defense right now with 23.2 points per game. Last week, getting a... pretty disappointing loss, 26-22 against the Raiders, where, you know, they were in this game all the way to the end. Obviously, we all talk about, you know, the David Fafita try, all that sort of stuff. But, you know, overall, like, yeah, just unable to get it done at, it was always going to be a hard trip going over to Canberra, to be honest. And especially, you know, Canberra seem to be their bogey to, like, not bogey team, but you know what I mean, like their rival team. Usually they do find a struggle against the Raiders, so I won't hold that against them too much. 2 from 3 in their last 5 games. Obviously, Jolliffe, Isaac, Fa'asumala-Awi, Khalees Haas, and Campbell come in for all their Origin outs. Obviously, a decent amount of Origin outs for this one. For Feeder, Big Tino, yeah, AJ Brimson. So, yeah, a whole lot of outs going on there. And with the Dolphins, they're 15th in attack right now with 17.6 points per game. 15th in defense with 34.4 points per game. So, not very good at the moment in form. They're 1 from 4 in their last 5 games. Obviously, coming off a loss against the Broncos last week, 24-16. So, Lemu Elu comes in on the edge for Kafusi, who coughed a head knock last week. So, hopefully, he's doing well. My tip for this game, we're going to go to Dolphins to beat the Titans at Seabus. It's been really, this one's really, really tough for me. I feel like this is 50-50. If all those Origin players were in this lineup, I'm going Titans every day of the week. But with, you know, Fafita out, we're going Tino out, we're going AJ out, we're going, bro, like, yeah, it's a struggle for me to find, you know, Mo Fodawaker's out. These Dolphins haven't been in form lately, but then again, I feel like the Dolphins still have some players there. If Jerry Marshall King plays, I really do feel like the Dolphins can get it done. I don't think he is going to be playing in this one. Obviously, he's been named, but I'm not too sure. I'm going to go to Dolphins. I'm just going to stick with the Dolphins. Please make sure you like, subscribe if you enjoyed the video. Hope you all have a great weekend of a short weekend of footy. Thank you so much, guys. Peace out.